The war was over. At least, that's what everyone believed. For 10 years, the Xanthari Dominion had waged war against the United Coalition, a fragile alliance of alien races bound together by desperation. The coalition had tried everything: diplomacy, subterfuge, all-out war. Nothing worked. The Xanthari were too advanced, too relentless. Their empires spanned 100 star systems, their armies were bred for war, and their strategies were flawless. They never lost. And now, the coalition's last stronghold, Ceres Prime, was falling. The capital burned. Its once proud defense fleets were nothing but drifting wreckage. The remaining soldiers fought bravely, but it was pointless. They were being wiped out. On the shattered command bridge of the coalition warship Enduring Light, Supreme Commander Talon Vey watched in silence. His reptilian hands clenched the railing as he stared at the battle unfolding below. Explosions lit up the planet's surface, the final screams of his people drowned out in the void. He had failed. A bitter voice in his mind whispered, "This is the end." And then, the humans arrived, #, a monster's arrival. At first, it was just a single ship, a massive, angular behemoth, cutting through space like a spear of steel. It wasn't sleek like a Xanthari battlecruiser, nor did it radiate the elegance of a coalition warship. It was ugly, brutal, built for one thing, war. Vey barely had time to react before his sensors lit up, hundreds more appearing behind it, dark, jagged vessels, black against the backdrop of the burning planet. Human ships. Vey's second-in-command, an avian named Chiral, turned to him in shock. They came. Vey couldn't speak. The humans had been missing for years. The coalition had pleaded for their help, had begged them to intervene before it was too late. But humanity had ignored them. Some said the Terrans had abandoned the war. Others believed they had already fallen to the Xanthari elsewhere. But now they were here. And they weren't here to save anyone. They were here to kill. #, the Butchers of the Void. The coalition fought wars with honor. The Xanthari fought wars with precision. Humans fought wars with cruelty. The first Terran ships didn't slow down. They plowed straight into the Xanthari fleets, ripping through formations with reckless aggression. No evasive maneuvers, no strategic positioning, just brute force. Then the weapons fired. Not clean energy beams. Not tactical missile strikes. Railguns. Magnetic mass drivers. Nuclear payloads, weapons that weren't just meant to win battles. Weapons meant to obliterate everything in their path. A Xanthari dreadnought took a direct hit from a kinetic lance, a hyper-accelerated tungsten spear the size of a skyscraper. The impact didn't just damage the ship. It tore through it like wet paper. More followed. Fleet killers. City destroyers, The coalition had spent years trying to slow the Xanthari advance. In minutes, the Terrans shattered their entire vanguard. And then the real terror began. The boarding parties. #, no mercy. Xanthari warriors were genetically perfect, designed to fight in unison, conditioned from birth for warfare. Humans? They weren't perfect. They were just ruthless. The first human shock troops didn't come in sleek pods or coordinated drops. They smashed through hulls and reinforced breaching ships, tearing into enemy vessels like wild animals. They didn't advance like soldiers. They hunted. The Xanthari were used to fighting orderly enemies, ones who followed doctrine, who had rules of engagement. The humans had no rules. They came in black armor, painted with the bones of their enemies. They didn't hesitate, didn't slow down. They tore through the Xanthari ranks like monsters in the dark. And when the enemy tried to surrender, the humans shot them anyway. #, the war had changed. From the shattered bridge of the Enduring Light, Commander Vey watched in horror. This wasn't a battle. This was a massacre. Chiral swallowed hard, feathers trembling. We asked for their help. His voice was barely a whisper. Gods, what have we brought upon this world? Vei didn't answer, because he knew the truth. The war was lost, until the humans showed up. And now, something far worse had begun. Supreme Commander Talon Vei had seen planetary sieges before. He had witnessed fleets reduced to debris, watched cities crumble under orbital bombardments, and heard the final screams of soldiers in their last moments. But he had never seen anything like this. The Xanthari weren't just losing. They were being eradicated. Human warships, monstrous and unrelenting, had punched through the enemy armada with no regard for their own losses. They didn't fight like the coalition, they didn't coordinate delicate flanking maneuvers or calculate optimal strike patterns. They didn't hesitate. They charged. They overwhelmed. They annihilated. The coalition had spent years trying to slow the Xanthari war machine. It had taken humanity only hours to break it. Now, as the battle raged, the true horror of their arrival was only beginning. #### no peace, no prisoners. A desperate transmission crackled across the coalition command frequencies. This is Admiral Gorak of the Xanthari Dominion. We request terms of surrender. Commander Vei's reptilian eyes flickered with hope. He turned to his second-in-command, Chiral, whose feathers bristled with anticipation. If the enemy was surrendering, it meant... Transmission ignored, a cold, human voice interrupted. Vei stiffened. What? Admiral Gorak's voice grew more frantic. We yield. The Dominion yields. We will negotiate terms of peace. Silence. Then the human commander spoke again. Negative. A pause. Then, there will be no peace. And with that, the human fleet opened fire. Admiral Gorak's flagship, a massive dreadnought, the pride of the Dominion, ***, was obliterated in a single volley, ***, the ship's shields didn't even have time to flicker. One moment it existed. ***, the next, it was nothing but a burning husk, ***. Across the battlefield, the rest of the Xanthari forces broke. Some tried to run. Some fell to their knees, surrendering. None of it mattered. The humans killed them all. #### the demons of Ceres Prime. The battle for orbit was over. Now the slaughter on the ground began. Terran drop ships rained from the sky like falling daggers, slamming into the ruined cities of Ceres Prime with enough force to crack stone. And then the soldiers emerged. Black armor. Red visors. Their weapons were ugly, brutal instruments. Kinetic rifles that punched through armor, flamethrowers that turned the air into liquid fire, and wickedly curved blades meant for tearing, not slicing. The Xanthari fought back. They were warriors bred for combat, their weapons more advanced, their training more refined. None of it mattered. The humans didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like monsters. A squad of Xanthari defenders, elite warriors, hardened veterans, ***, vanished in an instant, ***, a single human soldier, moving too fast, too aggressively, ripped through them alone. His blade gleamed red, and when the last enemy fell, he didn't even pause before moving on to his next kill. They were relentless. They were merciless. And the Xanthari were dying in droves. #### horrors in the streets. Vei and Chiral had landed on the surface with a coalition recon unit, hoping to establish a forward command post. They found only devastation. Burning ruins. Mountains of corpses, Xanthari bodies piled like trash, some still smoldering. In the distance, a group of humans dragged a wounded Xanthari officer from the rubble. The alien was barely clinging to life, one of his forearms missing, blood pooling beneath him. He pleaded in his native tongue, his voice filled with pain. The human soldiers just laughed. One of them leaned down, helmeted and expressionless. He didn't offer medical aid. He didn't take the officer as a prisoner. He grabbed the wounded Xanthari by the throat and lifted him into the air. The alien's eyes bulged. He choked, gasped, then screamed as the human plunged a knife into his stomach and twisted. Vei turned away, ball rising in his throat. This isn't war, Chiral whispered. Vei didn't answer, because he knew the truth. This wasn't war. It was extermination. Hashtag the death of the Xanthari. Within a single standard day, the Xanthari Dominion was no more. Their fleet? Destroyed. Their warriors?
Dead.
Their leaders? Hunted down, executed. The humans didn't occupy Xanthari space. They didn't install a new government. They simply erased them. Every city was flattened, every outpost was burned, every trace of their empire was wiped from existence. And when it was over, the human fleet turned back toward the stars, silent, methodical, their mission complete. Hashtag a terrible victory. On the remains of Ceres Prime, Commander Vey stood in the ruins, watching the humans leave. Chiral swallowed hard. They saved us. Vey didn't look at him, because the truth was, he wasn't sure if they had been saved at all. Humanity had come, and they had done what no one else could. They had won the war, but the price was far, far too high. Ceres Prime was dead. Not conquered. Not occupied.
Dead.
The fires had stopped burning, but the air still smelled of charred bodies and melted steel. The once proud capital of the Coalition's last stand was now nothing more than ashes beneath the boots of the victors. The humans had left, their fleet vanishing into the void as quickly as it had arrived. But the terror they had wrought remained. Hashtag the silence after the storm. Talon Vey stood in the ruins of what had once been Coalition High Command, now nothing but broken foundations and skeletal walls. The city had not been razed by the Xanthari. The humans had done this. They hadn't just killed their enemies. They had crushed everything in their path: Xanthari infrastructure, technology, and archives. Asterisk erased, asterisk, it wasn't enough to defeat them. The humans had ensured that nothing remained. Chiral, his avian second-in-command, stood beside him, staring at the remains of the battlefield. His wings were tucked close to his body, a subconscious display of fear. "They didn't take anything," he whispered. Vey looked at him.
"What?"
"The humans," Chiral said, voice hushed, as if speaking too loudly might bring them back. "They didn't loot. They didn't claim resources. They didn't install a new government. They just left." Vey's tail flicked uneasily. The Coalition had assumed that if humans ever intervened, it would be for their own gain. Asterisk to claim territory, demand tribute, force other species into servitude, asterisk. But they had taken nothing. And that was somehow worse, because it meant they hadn't come here for power. They had come for vengeance. Hashtag the message left behind. A rust-covered data beacon still flickered in the rubble. One of the few things the humans had deliberately left behind. Vey knelt, brushing away dust, and activated it. A transmission began to play. A human face appeared. A soldier, scarred, weary, but filled with a cold, quiet rage. His voice was emotionless. "To the survivors of the Coalition, the Xanthari Dominion is no more. You begged for our help. We have delivered your victory. But let this be clear. Asterisk, we did not do this for you. Asterisk. We do not fight for those who beg. We do not fight for those who fail to defend themselves. We fight for our own." The soldier leaned forward. His eyes were dead things, the gaze of a man who had seen too much, killed too many. "The Dominion thought they could attack us, burn our colonies, kill our children. They believed they could erase humanity. So we showed them what true extinction looks like." The message ended. The beacon crackled, then died. The silence that followed was suffocating. Chiral swallowed hard. They're monsters." Vey closed his eyes. "No." He turned, staring at the scorched sky, at the graves of a billion souls. "They're worse." Hashtag, no more allies, no more enemies. Over the next few cycles, the Coalition tried to contact the humans, tried to send them messages of gratitude, tried to thank them. There was no response. Humanity had gone dark. No transmissions. No envoys. No diplomatic efforts. Nothing. It was as if, after the destruction of the Xanthari, they had simply disappeared. And yet, everyone knew the truth. They weren't gone. They were just waiting. And now the rest of the galaxy had to live with a terrifying new reality. Humanity did not fight for conquest. Humanity did not fight for allies. Humanity fought only for its own. And if anyone dared to threaten them again, gods help us all. Time passed. The war was over. The Xanthari were gone. Not defeated, not subjugated, but erased from existence. Their planets lay in ruin, their species wiped from the galactic records as if they had never existed at all. But the galaxy did not celebrate. There were no parades, no songs of victory, only fear, because the war had not been won by strategy or courage or diplomacy. It had been won by something far worse. It had been won by humanity. And now, the rest of the galaxy prayed they would never see them again. #, the unspoken pact. The coalition rebuilt, but everything had changed. Borders were redrawn. Alliances were restructured. ***, the coalition itself remained intact, but now, every major race carried a silent understanding, a new law, an unspoken rule that no one dared challenge. No one would ever wage war against humanity. Ever. It wasn't an official treaty. It wasn't even discussed. It was just known. Because war with humanity was not war. It was annihilation. #, where did they go? The humans never responded to messages. Never sent emissaries. Never reclaimed their lost colonies. They simply vanished. For years, the coalition sent ships to scan the edges of human space. Their homeworld, Earth, was still there. Still orbiting its star. But their colonies? Their fleets? Their armies? All gone. Every world they once occupied was abandoned, their massive war fleets nowhere to be found. Entire planets lay untouched, but eerily empty, ***, as if humanity had simply walked away from the galaxy altogether. Some believed they had hidden themselves, waiting for another threat to emerge. Some believed they had turned inward, focusing on their own kind. And some, in the darkest corners of the galaxy, whispered a far more terrifying theory. That humanity had simply lost interest. That they had seen the rest of the galaxy for what it was. ***, weak, petty, pathetic, ***. That they had left because there was nothing left to fight. #, a final message. Years after the war, a lone coalition scout ship detected something near the ruins of the Xanthari homeworld. A single probe, drifting in the void. It carried a message. A voice, cold, mechanical, unmistakably human. You are afraid. Good. You have seen what we are capable of. Know this. We will not rule you. We will not control you. We will not interfere. We do not care about your politics, your wars, your ambitions. But if you ever bring harm to our people again, if you so much as threaten what is ours, we will return, and this time, we will not stop. The message ended. The probe self-destructed. And the galaxy understood. Humanity had left. But they were still watching, waiting. And if the stars ever turned against them again, they would burn. Every last one of them. #, end.